Hey guys, Zomfox here, and today we have some pretty big news to cover. Mainly because of Mike Repole's tweet that came out yesterday, as well as some new job openings that suggest that the Houston Roughnecks have been saved. And that Repole tweet talks about the fact that expansion might already be planned for 2028. And now we're going to have to ask once again, what is the deal with the Michigan Panthers? Now, before we go into the Houston Roughnecks part of this, we have to first understand how a job opening signifies that the team may have been saved by looking at Birmingham and Columbus. Now, Columbus obviously is the only confirmed relocation location, I guess the best way to put it. And this job opening ended up coming up about a month ago, right? This is when it was already being confirmed he was saying it. You had this account executive ticket sales experience, Columbus, Ohio job come up. Then you had on the 22nd, obviously, Mike Repole saying that the Stallions have been saved. And just a couple days later, you had the exact same position open in Birmingham. And even now, there was another a group of jobs that came up, which included more Birmingham jobs, which confirmed Birmingham was staying and confirmed that Columbus was becoming a relocation market. As we all know, the USFL teams basically got just completely cut when it comes to their marketing departments. So when you're seeing the job being opened, it is them suggesting that, hey, this team is staying. And that leads to Houston, who ended up having this come out on the 8th. And again, as of today, the 10th, there's, I think, 2 other job openings for them. So apparently the Houston Roughnecks have been saved. And as Lars says, it's an interesting development, and it really is. Because if you remember back when Repole had the first thing when he came in, he made it very clear that 2 to 4 teams were moving. It now looks like it's more than likely just going to be 1, and that 1 is either Memphis or Michigan, but even then that's not fully confirmed. Talk about Michigan. Really weird there. But apparently Houston's been saved. Now, I did make a video a while back where I talked about Houston and Memphis, and I said that Memphis had to go with how the team was, but Houston, I could understand keeping them even if I wouldn't be the biggest fan of it because of the overall market of Houston. Now, the rank you're seeing in the bottom middle of the right side of your screen. So this was obviously from the local TV rating. This is the basic math stuff that SockDem did. I confirmed a couple of these using just doing personal math. So the number on your right are the individuals watching estimated. This is based on the overall metro population or TV population of that area. So when you're seeing those numbers of, let's say, 700,000 people watching, you're seeing it from these numbers of the household individuals watching, not necessarily the TV rating, which in a local perspective is essentially the percentage of that, area. And what you'll see is in terms of individuals watching, Houston was in the top 50%. They were the 4th best in the league, right? Number 1 was St. Louis. Number 2 was Arlington. Number 3 was Michigan. Number 4 was Houston. Number 5 was DC. Number 6 was Birmingham. 7 San Antonio, and 8 Memphis. So Houston was doing solid on the TV front in an objective technical standpoint. They weren't bad. They were pretty good. And then TV rating-wise, they're at 0.6, which was really low, was actually tied with DC for the worst in the league. But because that area is so massive a metro area, a 0.6 actually is far more valuable than even a 2.7 in Birmingham. So when you see that, you can understand why keeping Houston is an idea of Repole and the league. Because if you fix the market, get a better team, which again, if they're going to keep Houston, they really need to get rid of Curtis Johnson because actual Roughnecks fans know this team ain't going to go anywhere with them, but we'll see. But if they get rid of him and let's say promote Tom Cable to head coach and they end up finishing, 6-4, maybe they fix their attendance and get even better TV rating because their attendance was pitiful last year. For a couple of weeks, they held the record for the worst spring football attendance period at that 4,100 followed by 4,000. Then, of course, the Showboats put up that 2,000 game, so they got lucky there, but if it wasn't for that, they would have been the weakest team in terms of attendance. Yes, they sort of rebounded in week 9, but overall the team averaged 5,700, and that's being back at TDECU Stadium. Really, really disappointing. And so, yes, apparently it looks like Houston has been saved. It is a pretty big shocker that this is the case, especially considering the fact that Repole has been, flaunting the ideas of going to Orlando and Louisville over the past couple of weeks. I don't know. Pretty shocked that Houston is pretty much saved. But we'll have to wait and see exactly what comes of this. And then, of course, we have the big tweet. Now, you can read this whole tweet. Essentially, he's saying that they're trying to get the right venues, which clearly is about Michigan. And then, of course, he says that we are putting our best efforts into identifying 2 additional markets for 2028, which we could announce in the near future. It's a pretty big deal. Now, the one thing that's important to note is that when we heard those rumors about expansion being in like the second year of the UFL, a lot of that, unless someone correct me if I'm wrong, there was no official word from the UFL saying we are expanding at blank date. It was a lot of theorizing, it was a lot of reports suggesting it. This is an owner outright stating that expansion is set for 2028. Now, I'm not a fan of that. It should have been 2027. It should have been 2026, as I've said before, but I can at least get it with a new owner. But the fact that you're pushing it all the way back to 2028 is a really rough decision. And the reason is, it's suggesting that you're going to potentially relocate teams in 2027 as well, which I don't think is a great idea. I don't think relocating in back-to-back years then expanding is the best idea, but we'll see. And then he also says that they'll be able to name all 8 teams for the 2026 season by no later than October 8th. Now, this date was originally like September something, and now it's October 8th. It's been pushed back again. And a lot of that is theorized to be because of Michigan. Now, Michigan, we've had to talk about this time and time again. Now, this is a tweet that we also haven't talked about because, again, I don't like making a video based on a single tweet like other people do. But this Repole Stable tweet, obviously, I'm not a big fan of the Panthers. Tennis was up, but the venue is the biggest issue. That's why I keep coming back to Alumni Field. I need more info. What I gather, for some unbeknownst, stupid, insane, egotistical reason, whether it's by him, whether it's by Moose, whether it's by Russ, whether it's by the league, they seemingly just do not want to go to EMU. No idea why. They just don't want to. Whether it's the turf, whether it's the fact that they're not fully in Detroit, even though they're close to Detroit. Apparently, they just don't want to go. So now they're trying to essentially get confirmation that the Alumni Field will be ready by 2027. That's what they're pretty much doing. As I said before, construction is never guaranteed. It can always be delayed. So if the stadium is ready for 2027, it seems like all signs are pointing to them playing at Ford Field again, despite how much it costs there. And then they will go to Alumni Field in 2027. The reason EMU is a better option is, number one, it's going to be cheaper, and number two, you're able to stay there 2 years if you have to. But, I don't know. And here's the important thing. Michigan was the second best market last year. Period. I'm not saying that as a Panthers fan. I'm saying that as an objective fact. With the info that we have publicly, that we can see, Michigan was unarguably the second best market in the league last year. 2025 attendance, they were third in the league. Already high. Yes, it was by about 1,600 below DC, but they were still third. Year-over-year attendance growth, best in the league. And this was by a wide margin. They were the only team that improved in attendance, and they did so by a wide margin. You're talking about like well over 1,000 fans a game. Local TV rating. This is the rating. They were third. They had the third best TV rating. They're like 1.1 was the third best in the league. Then their estimated individuals watching, also third. As mentioned before, it was St. Louis and Arlington that were higher than them. So they were the second best market in the league from a local perspective. That's no offense to DC. DC is a great market, but they were third. Objectively speaking, the second best market for the UFL was Michigan. So if you decide to move Michigan because of not wanting to play on a great turf, or because you don't want to risk being in Ford Field for 2 years, is absurd. It would make no sense. And it goes back to something I've said a while ago, which is that 2027 feels like the make or break year for the UFL. What I mean by that is it really does feel like if the league plays the 2027 season, it's going to be around for a while. If it doesn't, it's obviously going to be gone for the 2027 season. I don't really feel like I don't see a world where this league folds in 2029. You know what I mean? I don't see a world where this league folds in 2028. I see it either folds in 2027 or it's going to be like the 2030s, 40s, something like that. That's honest to God what I feel. All signs point to 2027 being the true make or break year for this league. 2026, we know it's going to happen, but is 2027 going to happen? When you're not willing to commit to Ford Field for 2 years, in case Alumni Field construction goes bad, to me, it's telling that you're not really planning on 2027 the way you should. At least that's how it is to me. The bottom line is when you're seeing that your second best team, objectively, your second best team in the league from a marketing perspective, is one that you're not willing to even budge on the idea of going to like EMU, is insane. And remember, the Panthers are the easiest team to move for a couple of years. Remember, yes, we want them to be in Detroit, but technically they are the Michigan Panthers. So them playing somewhere else really isn't against the team, right? It's not like you say we're going to move the Birmingham Stallions to just the other side of Alabama. It doesn't make sense, or the Birmingham Stallions, right? These are the Michigan Panthers. Like, who cares? Just go play at EMU for a year or two. Their AD has already talked about and been open to the idea of the Panthers playing there. You want to save money? You're going to save money playing at EMU. And this time, you can actually host a playoff game. It's become very apparent that the reason the UFL hasn't been able to have the Panthers host a playoff game isn't because of Ford Field is too busy. It's because they don't want to shell out the money for it. And you know what? I get it, but I don't know. But overall, I think that'll do it for this video. This has been Tom Fox. Let me know down below if you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you did. Like the video as well. Think about becoming a community member for as low as 99 cents a month. You get an exclusive monthly video, multiple team emojis. I don't know what I've decided to stream yet, but I am planning to stream on Saturday a college football game. There will be a community post out about that, so make sure you're on the lookout for that. That'll be a fun time. First stream in like 3 weeks, and first regular season stream in over a year for, NFL or college football. Only the second ever college football stream. So be looking for that. And as always, guys, have a great night.